Oh, hey, are we on? We're on? Oh my gosh. Hey, everybody. Leslie Villanelle-Plazic here. Zazoo Plazz. 7:07 in the morning, March 25th, 2024. Right after the Libra full moon lunar eclipse. I got some good video outside my place here. I'm back sitting in my room next to Zazoo. I got my Easter socks on. See, it says, let's get Eggcited. I got two, see? I got the other one too. I was thinking, I just like sitting on the floor. I don't feel like myself when I sit in a chair. Either I'm standing outside on a tree, against a tree, or I'm sitting on the floor. I just can't sit in a chair. I sit in a chair, I feel weird. I mean, that's why I haven't really bought any furniture for my new place yet. Because I kind of like sitting on the floor. I'm sitting on my little yoga cushion today. Because, half an hour is a long time to sit on your butt on the hard floor. Carpet, I gotta get some carpeting. That's what I need. Nice, cozy carpet. Because I have so much work to do. I got photos to sort. Easter's coming next week. I got all my stuff, though, to make my French-Canadian salmon pies, which my mom and my grandmother, Mime, would make every year. It's basically just, cans of salmon mixed up with, everything has to be mixed with potatoes. French Canadians, onions and potatoes. My husband was married to me for 28 and a half years. He knows everything, and he's Polish, so, he's like, and his parents didn't care for like onions or peppers and all that stuff. But I grew up with it. Everything's got to have like chopped onions, and celery, and that's how French people cook. So anyway, I got my salmon and my, rather than make regular mashed potatoes from potatoes, my mother would use, and my grandmother would use potato flakes. And you put milk in it, and you fluff it up with a fork. And it's like real mashed potato. I mean, it is mashed potatoes, but it's like these dehydrated flake things. Since my mom's been gone, I promised her, right when she had just kind of passed away. I was just talking to her, and I said, I'll do my best to keep up the traditions, So I've been doing that. I don't know if she's noticed, but I actually did go visit. I saw her where, her little marker and stuff. When my uncle passed away. We went to the funeral about a week ago. And, I think I talked about this in last week's Zazoo report. But yeah, I saw her marker there and everything. And I don't think she's really there. You can tell after a while. It's kind of like she's cleared out a long time ago. But I like to, keep the traditions like I said I would. Not that I'm going to be cooking for anybody. I mean, maybe I'll bring over some to my dad because he likes it. But, in the old days when my mom was around, that's the kind of thing I guess I miss, from those old days. When everybody was around and, it would be a big deal. Like nobody I knew growing up would celebrate Good Friday like we did. I mean, they'd go to, growing up in Catholic church, you go to church, everybody'd be wearing black. And it was, sad and somber, and you'd be kissing the cross. And then, I don't know, everybody would go home and just kind of, I don't know, like eat fish or something. And that would be that. But, or go get ready for Easter. It would be like, but my my mom would be, slaving away. She'd make these salmon pies, and then she'd serve it with a salad and beets and sometimes a nice dessert or something. It would be like a fancy thing, almost like a celebration. And same on New Year's Day with the meat pies, I met my husband. He's like, "What? Why do you celebrate Good Friday? Like it's, it was almost like as big a deal as Easter." And I said, "Well, why not?" And it occurred to me, that's the whole point, isn't it? And food has always been very meaningful to my family. And I think that's how I learned a lot about life, is through food. It may sound silly, but when you get into your 50s, you start getting like perspective. Like you're climbing the mountain and you could finally see down and you could see where you've been. And you're like, oh, okay. You're even close to the top, but you're farther than you were. So you could see yourself, a little bit better. And I'd be like, that really makes, you see where a lot of the chips have fallen into place. The puzzle pieces are starting to fit together. And you're like, yeah. The thing is, why wouldn't you celebrate? Good Friday is good because you wouldn't have the resurrection on Easter if Jesus didn't die first, right? All that had to happen to fulfill the prophecy that he would rise, right? So that's why, Palm Sunday is such a big deal. And this is what I do, for those of you new to the Zazoo Report. I bounce off my Zazoo part of my name is from my childhood. And what I'm in the process of doing, what I think a lot of us are doing, is sorting out, the messages and the things we received as children, right? The way we did things. Growing up for me, it was in the 70s and the 80s. As a teenager and a young adult in the 80s and early 90s. So pop culture is woven through that. But for me, I get a song. A song will come to me, but I have to start with the scriptures, which I always used to go to church growing up, and we'd go to church and you'd hear the thing. You'd hear on Palm Sunday, Any good Catholics know, Palm Sunday, it would last forever because they'd have a procession and everybody would get these palms, the green leafy things. You'd pick one out of the bucket on the way into church, and and then all the kids would be like sitting there making, palm crosses, folding over the frond, wrapping it around. I could never make one. My husband was really good at making them, and my boys learned how to make them. But for some reason, mine always kind of fell apart. And then, you get the palms, and they'd be like, okay, they would burn them for the next year's Ash Wednesday. And that's what made the little black stuff they put on your forehead. But they'd say, well, you can't throw them out. You can't throw out the palms. So I'd have to, you'd bring them home and you'd put them in your lingerie drawer, or you put them in the bottom drawer of your dresser, right? And then you go later in the year, you have these like crinkly, dried up, green things in your drawer, and you'd be like, well, I can't throw it out because I'm going to go to hell. So what am I going to do? You were absolutely convinced, the nuns had you convinced, and the priest, that if you threw out that pot, you were going to hell. There was no question. Just like, I just bought myself a new comforter last week. And so I'm going to tell this little story. I'll come back around. Speaking of going to hell, I have this joke with my husband. He said, how I just bought new pillows and buying new pillows. But I bought a new comforter, a new sheet set and everything. And it comes in a new mattress and a new bed. So you know how they come with all these tags. So I get my scissors out. I said, oh, there's going to be karma, right? If I cut these tags, it says, do not remove upon penalty of law, on the tag. So I was always afraid, even though the damn tags are driving me nuts, I was always afraid to cut the damn tags off the pillows in case somebody would arrest me, impressionable as I was from an early age, right? So I said, look at that. I cut the tags off, nothing happened. And then I looked down and I said, oh, there's just this one little teeny weeny piece of tag that I didn't get. So I'm going to try to take that off with my scissors. Sure enough, did I not take that last little bit? If I had just kept it on, it would have been fine. But no, I had to make it perfect. I had to cut the damn little tiny piece. And now, so now I cut that off, and now I have a hole in my comforter. So I can't wash it until I get a sewing kit and patch it up, and then I can wash my comforter. Because it took me like all night. I went at midnight to the community laundry, and I washed all my sheets and my new blanket and mattress protector and everything, and everything got all tangled up in the dryer. And you know how when you have like the fitted sheet and the mattress protector, and I just threw everything in, and I said, I know it's going to get all tangled up. Sure enough, I got it out. It's just this one big mass of tangled blanket and sheet and protector, and I had to, pry everything apart. And then I ended up, it took me longer because then I had to take another whole dryer for, $2.50. And so finally I got it done. So like I said, that was instant karma, because now I have a hole in my comforter. That means I have to go out, because my husband kept the sewing kit and the sewing machine, because he knows I hate to sew and I'm really bad at it because I'm so impatient and I start swearing. So that's going to send me to hell. So I got to go out and get myself a sewing kit so I can sew up the hole I made from cutting off the tag, and then I can wash the comforter, and then I'll be good. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So, the passion. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Palm Sunday. My husband was born on Palm Sunday. My youngest son, who's going to be 21 in a couple of weeks, he was born on Palm Sunday. I mean, it's different every year in the Catholic faith. It's always the week before Easter Sunday. And Easter Sunday is next week, the 31st. So it's very early this year. Usually Easter is in April, Like my kid, usually he has like Easter week. When he was in, grade school, or high school, he'd have vacation his birthday week. Now he's in college, they have vacation in March. But, he would always get that week off, and it was just always nice weather. And, so growing up, we'd take him. One year we had his birthday party at the Trolley Museum, and they had fire trucks there, up in East Windsor, Connecticut. So all these little boys running around, we had pizza and soda, and they got to climb, and they have these old trolleys. You would get a ride on the trolley that goes up and back, which was fun. And then they got to run around, inside. You would have the party, they had tables, and then the kids could run up and in around these old trolleys. I mean, I don't know if they still do that, but it was a lot of fun. You have a whole bunch of boys. You gotta, keep them busy and active. And April was always pretty nice. My other son was always hot because his birthday was the beginning of September, like Labor Day. It would be like 90 degrees, and, half the kids would be on summer vacation still, and half would be, he wouldn't know who was going to be his friend that year, and so it was different. But But I wanted to talk about, you know, it all ties in together. I've been listening to different astrologers talk about the Libra. You know, it's all this eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse, and there's somewhat of like an Earth shadow. So it's, it's kind of, and then it's around the moon's nodes. So the nodes are in Aries and Libra. So, Libra is more like about relationships and, equality, balance, and partnership. And Aries is like, man, I want to do what I want. It's like the infant of the astrological year. It's the very beginning. So, there's this balance, there's this give and take between me, my, all, I want to just do what I want, just go. And then there's Libra that says, but what about, don't you want love, da, 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 da. So what if, so I've been finding my responses in social media have kind of been playing this out. So I read The Passion today. And usually when you're a kid, you got to stand up and it feels like forever. I got my snakes on today. I got my Lunar Eclipse shirt on. I found this at like the thrift store. It's pretty cool. It's got snakes. It's like tats. So I gotta go make turkey chili after this. Maybe cornbread, that would be good. I think. So I read and I come up with things like, I've always loved this passage from Isaiah. The Lord has given me a well-trained tongue that I may know how to speak to the weary, a word that will rouse them. I love that. So, and then it's kind of like being on social media, because I have faith in God, let people, like he said, he kind of was predicting what was going to happen to Jesus, that people would be spitting on him and plucking his beard and, tossing, gambling for his clothes. And when I was a kid, I would listen to those things, and I would, I feel so bad for Jesus, because I'd say, what did he do to these people? He's just trying to help them, and they're being so mean to him. Why are they doing that? But it all had to happen. And it goes back to why do we celebrate on Good Friday? Why are we having a nice meal? And it's this whole thing, between how much do you do for people and how much are you, you've got to be authentic to yourself, right? You can't give too much of yourself, because in the end you come back to yourself. You don't, you can be the martyr, right? But then, you also have to speak your truth. So this for me has been a real theme throughout my life. Is, how much, and I can go over, I've got Libra in the first house, and I've got Aries in my seventh house of relationships. And first house is, of who your ascendant, who you are, what you, present to the world, or what people think you are is your ascendant. And, what you appear to be. And a lot of people don't go beyond that. I mean, it's not possible for someone to know you. Even knowing ourselves is really kind of tough. I mean, it takes half your life just to get to know yourself. The first part of your life, you're just taking it on other people's reflections on you. Your dog, your parents, your siblings, your cousins, whatever. Who do you say that I am? And that's what Jesus said too, wasn't it? You say that I am the King of the Jews, or you say that I am. It is you who say it, right? Because he knew that they couldn't know who he really was, right? That's the name that he, this man said he was, whatever. That's what the saying was on Jesus's cross. And it's, it's, what do people say that you are? Because, it's just, they're just slapping a label on you. That's not who you are. It's who this title, you're, part-time superhero, full-time mom. That's what you say that I am, I had one boss one time say to me, oh, here's my little full-time mommy, full-time worker, because I started out part-time in this job, and then my husband lost his job, so I had to go full-time. And so, she was kind of mocking me, and her tone was mocking me. I said, that just doesn't sit well with me, and it didn't end well. But, here I was making a sacrifice for this job, for this woman who I had up until this point respected. And, just by the way she spoke to me, I said, this isn't going to work. Anyway, but I've always had pretty strong faith. And, so I kept the faith, and I knew that I'd be taken care of, somehow. And, then there's this other part of the Passion story that I was always interested, which led me to the song here, the Passion, where the woman, he's reclining at the table on the Passover or before the Passover, and a friend of his broke a perfume bottle, expensive perfume and oil, and put it on his head, which was kind of a preparation for him, for his eventual burial. And somebody criticized him, for wasting the perfume that could have been spent on the poor. And I always thought that was interesting, that he, you would think, the charity and giving is more about than just giving to the poor, money, right? It was more important, like you said, you'll always have the poor with you. You won't always have me, right? So how does that speak to how we, use our resources and how we spend our time? He wasn't replaceable, There will always be poor people. There will always be resources, in other words, right? So people who think that way, they're missing the whole point. She was showing respect, and that she was performing a sacred ritual, and that was at that time the most important thing. So she was putting Jesus first. She was putting the moment first, rather than feeding the poor in the future, right? So the future and the past, they pull us away from what's really important. This is how I interpret it. It's like, why are you saving the best china, right? You ever hear your mom, your grandmother, like, oh, that's the best, we only use that. It's Christmas. It's, why can't, and that's why I think my mom would do something like a Good Friday. Like, it wasn't a holiday other people celebrated, but that's what made it special to her, to us, It was our kind of sacred ritual for our family. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people are missing these days, They've abandoned that family ritual, the sacred customs, in an effort to try to blend in and not offend anybody. We've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. We've missed the whole point. If you're worried about not offending the guy who says, why did you break that perfume? You know the types on social media. Why did you say that? Because I wanted to do it, And see, so it's very interesting. We cannot become a society of people who wag our fingers at other people in judgment for, you know, things they do that are meaning that, and what it says in the Bible is that she would forever become known as the woman who did that, right? In the Passion reading, right? What do you want to be known for? You know, so what if somebody criticizes you? That's what you're supposed to do. Jesus did what he was supposed to do. He didn't want to do it. He asked for the cup to be taken away, but, you know, no. So is the same with us. So the song of the week. The Shoop Shoop song. It's in his kiss, okay? Because there's the scene in the Passion where Judas Iscariot brings the guards and he said, the man I'm going to kiss, he's the one. And he goes up to Jesus and he kisses him and he says, Rabbi, right? And that's how they knew. So I took that, I said, oh, kiss, what's that song? And it was the Cher in that movie Mermaids, where Christina Ricci and Winona Ryder play her daughters. And in the video, they're all singing. They do like the old-fashioned, you know, scene at the beginning, because the song itself went to #1 with Betty Everett in 1964, before I was born. But then Cher's version went #1 in the UK. November 7th, 1990, it was released. Went to 33 on the Billboard 100 in the US. So, yeah, it was Cher's first #1 solo in the US. And UK, she had gone to #1 with I Got You, Babe, with Sonny in 65. But yeah, the video is really cool, where they're all, at the end, they're all like wearing black leather jackets and jeans, and, you know, it's just very, it's like very shoop, very 60s. But the meaning of the song is this woman telling girls that, you know, that's how you can tell when, you know, this guy loves you, is, you know, how he gives himself away in his kiss, you know, his physical affection, because you can tell how someone kisses you. And I thought, that's funny, because the way Judas went up and, you know, you would kiss somebody on the cheek as a friend, and it was a betrayal, but it was with a kiss, you know. So, but that was meant to happen. That was the truth. That was the truth. You know, Judas was playing a role that needed to happen so that the resurrection, the death and the resurrection could happen. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's all kind of tied in together. You know, they're opposite sides of the coin. You know, love, like romantic love, and you know, a betrayal, and they're both necessary. And as long as we have faith, you know, that this is what's meant to be, we can embrace the betrayals as well as the, you know, as the love. Because they're both fleeting. I mean, they don't last, you know. The kissing, my mother-in-law used to have a sign in her kitchen that said, kissing don't last, but good cooking do. Does. And I don't know, I'll leave it there. God bless her. I kind of feel like she's around today, because she was a Libra, and she had a fondness for red appliances. Round red things. I still have one of those silicone mats in my kitchen here that she gave me. It's got it's fluted around the edges, and I use it to put hot things on, like a trivet, but you can put it in the microwave too, or you can use it to open jars with. It's very useful. So yeah, Sun's coming up. It's kind of nice. It's warmer in here. So yeah. So that's my Easter Zazoo report. I got my Easter socks on. So yeah, I'm gonna go make some Instapot turkey chili, and then finish my taxes and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, happy Easter week to everybody who celebrates. Hope the bunny's good to you. Brings you lots of Cadbury eggs or whatever you like. Hershey's, Reese's cups and eggs and things. Little jelly beans. I really miss hiding jelly beans from my kids. Oh, they're too grown up. I can still hide them from myself. We're still finding jelly beans under the couch in our house from when we hid them for the kids growing up. Those things, you find them later, 10 years later, little petrified, little rocks. Anyway, till next week. Zazoo Plazz signing out. Take care and enjoy the week. Bye-bye.